your spaceship music collective. This is Six Set Bro, a misguided adventure through the social fringe of the music industry. I'm your host, Dom Maple. Welcome everyone to Six Set Bro Live. We're live on all the platforms, all over the world. And this is a music and entertainment podcast. If you've never watched before, you can support the channel by going over to the YouTube and subscribing, ring the little bell thing. You can go on the Spotify for Six Set Bro, and you can click that little teeny tiny little follow button that's at the top. They try and hide from you, but it's really supportive if you click that little thingy. My name is Don Maple. I'm going to be host this evening, and I am joined, as I always am, by he's a guy that I lived with for a while because he's my brother. He's my older, maybe not wiser brother, and I'm his little boy Canadian man brother. Money Mike, cash money, money. And on the other side, we got the other guy that's always here. His native history is a mystery. Ooh, spitting fire bars.
Even like
His native history is a mystery. That's pretty cool. He's tired today. It's Andrew Fernandez. You can call him Nandez. You can see everybody's little Instagram tags down in the bottom. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can follow us all if you want to see our private lives, I guess. And we got a jam-packed show, as we always do. We jam it right up. And you know, see, before we talk about anything music related, as I always do, I like to talk. I just like to shoot shit with you guys for a little bit. It's been a little bit more positive in the news recently. You know, it's like it seems like there's some sort of movement towards coming out of a lockdown. Are you gonna miss it? Well, I'm gonna miss it a little.
Yeah.
No. Nothing? You're giving me nothing. Thanks. This is a show where I ask questions and those guys don't answer me, apparently.
old. No. I thought I was having trouble hearing you then, but it's okay.
Is it okay? Because I was actually thinking the same thing.
Oh, don't tell me that, guys.
Yeah, it was quite cut in, cut out. That's what I was trying to message you there.
Oh,
During the
well,
intro.
I can't get messages while I'm doing the show. I'm running too many things at once here.
I was wondering, was it gonna just sort itself out or what? But yeah, it seems very cut in, cut out.
Can everyone hear me now?
Can hear you, but the problem is that it's almost like it keeps dropping every couple of seconds, like, and you miss a word or two.
Oh, well, that's good.
Damn.
We don't like that. We're gonna have to fix this. Hold on.
It seems fine
got
on the live
stuff I
stream,
do.
so must just be.
It's just on. You guys cannot hear me?
Yeah.
Good. Alright. Hang on with us, folks. I'm gonna fix a couple things. Do. We got any improvement now? If anybody's watching, how do we sound? In the comments, let us know. Is that any better, guys? No.
I think so.
See.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think so. So.
Yeah. It was just gonna be very hard to maintain a conversation whenever you were missing like every fourth or fifth word.
That is
like, what?
entirely
What?
fair. That is entirely fair.
trying to fill in the blanks.
Sound crisp.
We could be giving you completely wrong answers to like questions that you're asking.
Fair. Oh, that's good. You know what it was, everyone? I was trying to stream to like way too many things. I think was the problem. I was really trying to take advantage. Again? Yeah, we overloaded it. Sorry, everyone. We're back on track. Yeah, so let's get back to that jam-packed show. Uh, what I was asking you whenever I thought you were just
So
being
brighter
really rude,
future.
and
No.
a brighter future ahead of us. So I was trying to be really positive, and then you guys just sat there in dead silence, and I was just like,
Nope.
Like,
"Thanks a
what
lot,
the fuck is he
everyone.
saying? What is
Should
he
I
saying?
just leave?" Um, yeah, you know what I'm gonna miss about lockdown though, like for real, is the amounts of trash
Nothing.
TV. No, the amounts of trash
Yeah.
TV that I watch right now is absolutely fantastic. Me and my wife have like a real affinity for just absolute garbage television, and my favorite show to watch at the minute is called Blown Away.
Oh, I think Jade is also watching that. Is that the glass maker one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about blowing some glass.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like if you go on Netflix, there's like a show for every genre, and it's all just the Great British Bake Off, but for different things. There's like one where they're gardeners, but it's the exact same format as Great British Bake Off. And there's one where people make stuff out of glass, and they're a bunch of glass blowers, and it's absolutely hilarious. Mainly because the thing that you put your glass in when you're remaking it is called a glory hole, and that
Yeah.
never is not funny every single time. It's never not funny, okay? Um, but yeah, I watched two full seasons of Blown Away, and
Yeah.
I still haven't watched
I
Mr. Robot, Mike.
I think yeah, yeah. No comment on that one. I'm severely disappointed. But yeah, no, I think I checked in at one point whenever Jade was watching one, and just it just seems so random to me because like obviously they were talking about the glory hole and stuff. But um on that particular episode, they randomly had this NFL player on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been an amateur glass blower for like
Yeah,
years now," or whatever. And it's like, what?
yeah, I seen that. That was really weird. That
And
was
he
a
was
weird
coming
one.
off with all these glass puns and stuff, but it was so cheesy.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, it's crazy. The worst thing about that show though is that like the people are so incredibly pretentious. Like they act like glass blowing is like I don't know curing cancer or something. Like the way like they talk like it's like the legit the best thing in the world, and we should all love them for it. And they're just like the God's greatest gift or something, and it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I say I'm gonna miss it. I'm still gonna watch that terrible stuff.
Nothing will
So
change. Nothing will
not
change.
really. I think I've just been better at wasting time because there's not really an option to do anything else. So that's been fun. But
I
yeah,
gotta say, I'm not so much into the reality TV or the trash TV. I'm actually on the opposite end of things. I'm starting to get concerned that I'm running out of a backlog of stuff that I wanted to get to. It's like I feel like I'm nearly done with everything I wanted to get caught up on. I'm running out
you
of TV if
you
that's
just
possible.
yeah you watch far too much.
Yeah.
Like I don't really
Says the
understand how.
man who could probably recite half of the reality TV shows like
Yeah.
line for line.
Yes, correct. It's always funny. And I could definitely recite like TV sitcoms that I've watched a million times over to like
Like put it this way, it's like whenever you can like give a full, very vividly detailed rundown of your favorite episode of, it wasn't even like a Gordon Ramsay one, it was one of these offshot ones of like one of those
like restaurant
restaurant
steak.
fix-up shows. Yeah.
Yeah, gotta love
And
it.
like
Gotta
line
love
for
it.
line go through what happened in the 30-minute episode. Probably take 30 minutes to explain it. That's when you know you've got a problem.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Do you want me to recite it now? No, okay. I can. I
I
can
think
if
we
everyone
maybe
wants
I
to.
think we maybe have went into it in a previous podcast before. Your favorite
Props,
episode?
props. But you know what? You know what I can recite line for line now, and I'm as equally proud as I am ashamed. Is the Just Eat commercial, and I can sing it all now. The reason being, right, is that my son has this very strange obsession with the Just Eat commercial, and if whatever works as a parent, right? It's like literally if it comes on TV, my wife and I realize like it will just distract him for 30 seconds, like entirely. He will drop everything he's doing just to watch the commercial. I don't know why. It's not like we introduced Snoop Dogg into his life during pregnancy or anything weird like that. We weren't like playing Ain't Nothing But a G thing of Up to the Womb or something, nothing like that. But for some reason, he loves this commercial. So the minute it starts, he knows it's on. He's just like turns around and watches it immediately. So
You're not even hyping this up slightly. I've witnessed this. It's like every time without fail, guaranteed, it just
yeah,
his attention is diverted. Like if he is like crying or in the middle of playing with something else, he just stops and it's like, oh, it's on
oh,
again.
it just stops. Yeah,
It's crazy
which
and
obviously means
hilarious.
that I'm using it constantly. If you're like trying to change a wriggly baby and change their diaper, then like just play Just Eat, and then you got 30 seconds to do it, really quick. But yeah, eventually you learn the words of this thing. So like I know all the words to Just Eat. Um, and I would tell you one downside of that commercial is that Sarah realized the other day that because it doesn't seem like there could be a downside, right? It's like if your child isn't trans by it, but he was sleeping the other day, and it was like we were sitting there watching TV, and he was asleep,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just Eat was about to come on. I had to like jump for the
The
TV remote
opposite
to
effect.
mute it. Yeah, I was like, he's gonna wake up. He's gonna wake up to see this commercial. So yeah. So I don't know, I'll sing it. I'll sing it after the commercial breaks for everybody. Because it's
Just
just
throw
up
in an
here now.
extra ad there.
Clearly, some just like some information left my mind, and now Just Eat lyrics are in there. Um. Oh, Simon says in the comments, maybe you can just sing it to him, and he'll get distracted. That's why I've learned it, and it kind of works. It like half works, but it's never gonna work as well as Snoop Man. Um, the original recording. Yes, definitely. He's an OG Just Eat
Yeah, he's a
fan.
connoisseur. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, well, we all have that to look. You want to stay on the podcast. The way to keep you hooked is the Don Maple's gonna do his own rendition
He's
of Just
singing
Eat later
Just
on
Eat.
in the show. Um, but yeah, that's been my life recently, everyone, and I feel like I'm just losing it now. I really can't wait for this lockdown, Dad. Um, for anybody who didn't see, I'm sure everybody's seen anyways, but there's a road to recovery, which is fantastic for so many reasons. Personal reasons in our lives, getting to see family, getting to go out and do, well, like the three of us always play basketball together. We can go and do that again. And then of course the big one, the one that we want to talk about in the show is the possibility of live gigs. Um, you know, it's not something that we will delve into again tonight because I feel like we're talking about it maybe every single week. But I will be quite interested. We're trying to get a show lined up with Sean McCann, who runs BGO Productions, that put on a lot of shows in Belfast. He also plays bass in Still Simeon, and I'd really like to delve into what he thinks is gonna happen. Like realistically, what is the scene gonna look like come the summer? Because I think in a way it's maybe this is coming a bit sooner than I thought. I know we talked hypothetically about a spring reopening, but everyone assumed that music venues would not be able to open. But now they're talking about festivals going ahead. I don't know.
Yeah,
It would like
festivals and like big venues and stuff. So that it is going to be interesting to kind of like, okay, but how is this going to work then on a smaller scale? Is
well,
the
it's hard
thing
to
because
yeah.
it's the on a smaller scale they don't really have like the staff or the personnel there to kind of like enforce any socially distancing sort of stuff, which again, if the roadmap's all to be believed, that's not going to be an issue eventually anyways either. But yeah, I don't know, it is just weird. It's like, yeah, everything's going to be okay come the summer. Festivals, massive stadium gigs are fine, so you would think that small venues would also be okay.
See,
Well,
just
Who
like
knows?
what
retail had to do figure it out.
Yeah, well, that is
Figure
gonna
it
be
out.
that is literally gonna be absolutely everything, not just gigs or retail or any. Everybody just coming out of this is just gonna be. It's gonna be a bit of a scramble, isn't it? Just figure it out.
You've had 10 months to figure it out.
You're right though. He's not wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Sean McCann, who I just spoke of, is in the comments, who said to remind him not to get drunk before he comes on our show, or he'll just talk bollocks for an hour.
People love that because that's what we do, right?
That's
why
exactly
people
what
listen.
exactly what we're doing right now, Sean. Thanks everybody for taking part and commenting. Sorry we had a bit of a ropey start this episode, but now I know. Don't broadcast to like 5 different channels at once.
We can't edit and cut that out anymore. It's just
No,
it's all
just
there.
gonna
Just warts and all.
gonna be there. Warts and all, as they say. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting because whenever I'm reading that like roadmap to recovery, for anyone listening audio wise, I'm constantly doing Dr. Evil inverted commas when I say roadmap to recovery, and I don't know why, because that's what it's called. But
because it sounds like such a TM, like roadmap to recovery TM, like somebody's
recovery.
Somebody's taking a long time to come up with that term in a boardroom somewhere.
Hey, remember when 2 weeks was the road to recovery?
Oh yeah, we did have a road to recovery before in the summer, didn't we? It actually sounds like a real badass Black album, Road to Recovery, or the documentary about Eminem's album Recovery, Road to Recovery. Yeah. So what was I gonna say there? Oh yeah. Whenever I was reading through the steps, like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and step 5, I think it goes up to, of like, this will open and this will open, this will open. Whenever I seen stuff about indoor venues, didn't explicitly talk about music, but it sort of said about large gatherings would have to go under a risk assessment. So I'm guessing that's what will happen. Probably with local shows in small bars that always support artists around this country. Probably every country would be similar, unless you're from Texas, where they're just like, fuck it, open it up. Open it up, baby. Don't know if anybody's seen that, but Texas have decided that the pandemic's over officially. And even though they just almost all died in like the day after tomorrow type scenario in February, they're trying to unleash contagion this month. I wonder what's coming in April. Hopefully a rom-com.
Yeah, I seen the Seinfeld memes. I think was how I was alerted to all that Texas stuff that's going on.
Whenever George is with the Yankees, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
no Yankees will be coming down.
Yeah. I love that episode. George hangs out with those guys and they all say bastard, but they say it in like a friendly way and they call each other bastards, but then they just start thinking that George is really angry all the time. He's like, you tell those bastards. Like, it's a term of endearment. Somebody told me that in work the other day and they called me a dickhead. But then they were like, well, it's a term of endearment. And I was like, okay, I do feel part of the group. Thank you very much. It's a very, yeah, I don't know. Is that a global thing? It's the first time I've ever had that. Being called a dickhead lovingly.
You bastard.
Oh, sorry, guys. I desperately need this beer tonight. I'm not even doing smart enough, dumbass. I'm not even angry. I'm just tired.
Dude, I actually nearly forgot my beers, and the countdown was going. Stress. I had to run to the fridge. I nearly tripped over my dog as I was running. Did you see me go off camera? Yeah.
Why did you trip over your dog?
I nearly did.
Your dog's like 3 centimeters?
Because he loves, as soon as you go anywhere near the kitchen, that he thinks that means he's going out the back. So every time you move, he's like straight at your feet as you try and go through the door.
Of course. Yeah. I have tripped over my dog before in front of
Your
group
dog would
of
trip you up, not the other way around. Like
Yeah,
Jess
like
would
both
tackle
both
you.
apply. Both apply. Mike, how do you trip your dog? How do you trip over your dog? It's this big. And Stu, how do you trip over your dog? It's fucking this big.
Hey, I will say it's nothing to do with me not paying attention. It's to do with her not paying attention. It is her running into my legs at full force.
I guess.
And she tripped me up at a dog park once in front of a bunch of youths. And it was very embarrassing.
Did they
Very.
laugh at you? Did they laugh?
Yeah, because you know what happened was I was at a dog park and there's like a football field beside it and they accidentally kicked their ball over, so I went over to help them. So I went over to get the ball to kick it back, and as I go for the ball, just thinks we're playing ball now. So she like runs in my legs and she just trips me up right in front of these kids, these fucking
Oh
youths.
no.
And do you know what the worst part is? They didn't even laugh. They just stood there like they were concerned, which is more troubling to me. As if like, is that old guy okay?
Do you need help
hurt
up, sir? Is your
Sir,
hip
are you
okay?
Can we get you an ambulance? But then I like overhead kicked it back over and won their respect back. That didn't help. Oh, Simon in the comments, he's annoyed about Smarten Up Dumbass, that there is no Smarten Up Dumbass.
I'm sure you could find something.
I have a smarten up dumbass. Hey, I speak English, so why do people keep going, pardon, excuse me, what, when I'm right in front of you?
Because are you wearing a mask? That's
Nope.
probably why. No, you're not.
I have to take it off and go, hey, English, understand, why you saying what 3 times in a row? Oh.
Dude, you're saying this to the wrong group of people. Everyone in these comments and everyone viewing at home probably are musicians who can't hear anything anymore. I know I
General
definitely
tinnitus. Yeah.
can't. I can't hear people. I am one of those people. So that I'm sympathizing. I'm the person that's like, sorry, what? Over and over and over again.
Are you the kind of person like how many would you unashamedly keep saying what until you understand, or do you just like go in with I pretend I've understood and I'm just gonna try and like style this out and make a guess?
I gotta be honest, like mine will go to the point of embarrassment, but I never just agree because I don't see a way out of that. Who knows what they're asking, especially if it's something where I'm being asked a question. It's like I can't just say yes. Like, what if it's not a yes answer? So it just gets to the point where I've said it like 3 times is usually the cutoff for this is too awkward now, and then I just have to be like, I am really like sorry. What?
Yeah, it's my fault. I am the idiot. It is my fault. Please speak really slowly.
If I am completely honest with you, I've blatantly lied and said I had a problem hearing before. Like, and I was like, I play in bands and stuff as my ears aren't very good. And it's like, it's not really true. I sit do critical listening for mixes, so like, I'm pretty sure they are okay. But it's a good excuse. Be like, no, sorry.
I'm starting to give people just 2 watts and then that's it. And then I just.
What do you do after? Just walk away?
No, I go. So
you had your chance.
Like today, I would say like, oh, how was your day off? And they go, sorry, what? And they would turn around and go, well, how was your day off? And then we'll go, pardon? And I'll be just like, hey, and then I'll carry on.
You know what? Never mind.
If you didn't
I
hear
don't
me
care anymore.
I'm speaking. How was your day off? I slow down 2nd time. If they still go, what? I just look at them and go,
And then they understand that one, which is weird. Oh man, that was Andy's first ever Smarten Up Dumbass. Time to get real, man. Time to talk shit about the things we can't stand. Ain't nobody out there's getting a pass. Smarten Up Dumbass. I already opened it. Damn it.
How'd that feel to get that off your? How'd that feel to get that off your chest, Andy? Was it good?
Made a slight difference.
I don't know if I have
There's a
it.
lot more down there.
I don't know if I have a smarten up dumbass in me.
Stuff that
I don't
the
know.
rest
I don't know
on.
if I could get worked up about anything.
Maybe we do the rest of the show is just all smarten up dumbasses. Maybe we do the rest of the show is just all smarten up dumbasses. Mike, get angry about something.
I
Just let it flow.
Time to talk shit about the things we can't stand. Ain't nobody out there's getting a pass. Smart enough dumbass.
What is it, Mike? What do you hit? Don't think, just go.
literally don't have anything. To
Hey, do you know what I
complain
hate?
about.
I hate Corey Taylor trying to sound like Limp Bizkit from the 90s in a rap song or a rock song that I've just seen on Instagram.
Go with that feeling. How does that make you feel? Because I got nothing. I've got nothing.
I have one important question for you.
Dr.
Is you-
Seuss.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We're going
Anyway,
off now.
sorry, carry on.
There was a question about Corey Taylor.
Yeah.
Is it Corey Taylor or is it Mask Man?
It's
The
the same
Slipknot?
person, but yeah.
No, I don't
unmasked.
think so. I'm pretty sure it's not him
The
back.
guy from the guy from Stone Sour, not the guy from Slipknot. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I really like the guy from Stone Sour, not so much the guy from Slipknot though. I
But
think
and
the
then
guy
when
from
you
Stone
see
Sour.
when you see the guy bringing back the '90s rock rapping, you're like, huh, okay. Why are
dude.
you doing this?
Man, rock rap was big back in the day. Although there used to be rock rap
Keep on
remixes
rolling,
of
baby.
rap songs. It was like Cypress. Was it Cypress Hill had Rap Superstar,
Oh, yeah.
and then they released Rock Superstar, where they did a really cool big thing where they changed the word rap to rock, and there was guitars on it, and that was a really cool thing that those guys did.
But they were
Back-
also
back in the
legends
day.
before that.
They were. They were. They had a really silly. That guy has a really silly voice. Can I just? And I'm sorry because you know what, Cypress Hill are legendary, but he has a really silly voice.
Like a rapping voice. Yeah, he does a bit. But
It's just silly. Like try and do an impression of him, and he's like, "You want to be a rap superstar?" He sounds like Adam Sandler.
sometimes
He does
looks like
actually
Adam
a little
Sandler.
bit.
You want to be a rap superstar, and you large. Big house, brown car. Brown car? I don't think it's brown car. What the fuck? I don't know. I can't remember the words.
Something about a car, anyways.
Probably big car, right? Not brown car. I imagine anyway. Man, how good was my Sandler just now? Nailed it. Ah man, I'm so
What?
good at impressions, right? You know,
Wasted on this show. Wasted.
I am literally.
Yeah, how
I
come
need to
you
get,
love
like, a
your
good-
midweek drinks. Like I can't.
I am getting. I think also viewers are getting concerned as well as myself.
There's no other pleasures in lockdown. I've formed like a really, it's a stupid habit. Podcast means a couple of beers. That's what's happening.
Honestly, the only time I get to hang with the buds and have a beer, you know, it's usually we could meet up and do this. But it didn't matter, and Andy, you didn't drink with us anyways.
I couldn't. It's 'cause
You're
I
not really a
couldn't-
drinker?
I couldn't. I would be like Denzel Washington in Flight. It's like I'm drunk right now. Like even in a meeting,
Immediately.
I'm drunk right now.
Man, no, yeah, this doesn't feel any different to me. This is like whenever we would hang out usually, and Andy wouldn't drink because he just doesn't.
I
drink.
don't.
Sorry, I'm
think
saying
I
that
can,
like a.
because when. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was just
No,
gonna
I was
say,
gonna
I'm
say-
saying it like I'm in high school or something. I just be like, oh, we all hang out and Andy doesn't drink. Oh, what a.
I think because when I don't know, because when I do, I 90% of the time would drink to excess, and I'll feel awful the day after. So I'm like, I'm gonna not do this
gonna-
anymore.
I'm gonna not. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I have one beer for the show, and then that's me. I'm done. Cause I still gotta work my normal job, I guess. I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
again, you can be like Denzel Washington, just go.
I'm drunk right
I'm
now.
drunk right now.
Couple of
In
drinks in
work.
the morning. Couple of drinks in the morning before I go in. Right, fellas, we're gonna jump over to some commercial breaks here, and then we get into the big question. Thanks everybody for joining us on the show so far. Stay tuned, and we will be right back, man.
That awkward silence.
Hey there, fresh-faced creative and a youthful advertising demographic. Does your reading material have a distinct lack of cultural nourishment for your slowly decaying, malnourished soul? Stop! Put that garbage down. Everyone knows you shouldn't get your news from old mediums like paper. That's 2/8th century. Plug in the information superhighway, loser, and read a zine. It's like a magazine, but without all that dumbass paper. Stranger Days, the arts and culture e-zine. It's got music, comedy, art, poetry, tarot cards, cinema, year spaceship, comics, podcasts, and Jim Carrey. Read Stranger Days now, because between you, me, and your trusty canine companion, we know fluffy cuddles and e-zines are the only way to push back the existential dread slowly consuming your every waking moment. Hold back the darkness today with Stranger Days. Available now at strangerdays.wordpress.com.
If you want to wrap your ears around all the music we've been talking about on the podcast, we run a special playlist over on Spotify. It's called Distant Sound Waves. Here over at Six Sepra, we always thought, well, what's the gosh darn point of doing a music podcast if you can't let people hear any music? There is a whole lot of legal mumbo-jumbo and copyright issues that prevent us from actually doing that on pod. So we thought that was a pretty good compromise. We make a playlist and it gets updated every single month. On the playlist, we have things like golden singles from local homegrown talent that we've talked about. Maybe some of the bigger artists that we've had conversations about, we'll put those guys on there. Or maybe it's just something new that we stumbled across and we've been talking about on the podcast. It is all there. You can find Distant Sound Waves by searching for it on Spotify, or you can find the links all over our social medias. And we're back, everyone. So I think we need to get into the big question, which I put out this week. Put it out into the internet like I always do, and I hope the internet sends me back answers. That's all I look for. I send my questions out, and you guys send me the answers back, right? So we gotta play the thing, the big old stinger.
Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, it's time for
Okay, so welcome to the big question. This week we are asking everyone in the comments, everyone in the world, including ourselves, do we think it is possible for guitar-based chart music to make a resurgence? And what I mean by this is, if you harken back to a simpler time in the 1990s / early 2000s, there was a lot of bands at that time, or artists, that I feel could release successful guitar-based music and have it be a mainstream hit. There's a lot of examples, but I mean, it's the kind of time that I feel really made a name for bands like, off the top of my head, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. A band like now, if I see them coming out of somewhere, it's like, would they be able to make it in today's climate? I mean, I don't know, because that music doesn't really seem to be getting any airtime, really. And it's a bit confusing when I try and explain this question, because it's not that, like, there's definitely still rock bands and there's still successful rock music, there's rock charts, but to me there was a difference between like rock fans and then the general audience. It's like, your mom knows who the Red Hot Chili Peppers are, sort of thing. It's just like maybe not so much with rock bands now. It's like the rock bands that you're into are not general knowledge really anymore. But the ones that made it back in the day are. Does this make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like Kings of Leon, Arcade Fire, sort of
Yeah.
like that sort of level of guitar-based music, but like they're like legendary. People will
Yes.
talk about them, sort of thing. Yeah.
Highly successful to the point of a casual music listener cannot just know about them but be a fan of them. But it's hard because it's this whole thing where people say rock and roll is dead and stuff, and it's like I don't know if it is. I've always been somebody who thinks we go through these like just cycles of genres where they just float to the top, and it's like I think I talked about this the other week. It's like you can look back at decades and think, oh, the 60s was like the hippie rock movement, the 70s was disco and funk, the 80s was synth pop, and the 90s was grunge. Early 2000s, usually people think bubblegum pop, but like it wasn't just that. It was like pop punk and power punk and power pop and all that sort of good stuff. Like, and then we moved into the emo phase. I feel like those bands all give way to the emo phase. It was like, you had bands like Blink-182 and The Offspring and Good Charlotte, and it all led into like My Chemical Romance and Hawthorne Heights and all this sort of thing. But I just feel that is so not the case anymore. Like, today's mainstream is hip hop, undeniably. Again, there's a hip hop community, and there's like people who are full on into it. But I'm talking like if there's a single being played, if you're looking at the charts, 90% of it is hip hop based in some way, or at least feature someone who is in hip hop. And it's crazy how that happens, I guess. Like, I mean, you go in these cycles. I don't know if it's a case of did the people change or did rock just get bad? I don't know. I suppose that's a place to
Was there
start
not the
talking about this.
Yeah, was there not the caliber of bands to actually continue that? Is that why it dropped off, or is it just that, as you say, like these things are cyclical and something else came in to have its time? I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my personal take on it is that it's like, I mean, definitely it will never be dead, sort of thing, but I feel like rock is definitely kind of taken a weird back seat, but it's still, I think Andy maybe said this on the like last week's show, or he said it at some point maybe, that like it still influences an awful lot of stuff and you still hear it in stuff, but it's just not right there at the forefront. It's like hiding, maybe like waiting for another couple of years, and maybe it will come back again whenever there is that special band that kind of just brings it up and gets it in everybody's faces and stuff again. But like this is the thing that you're saying, is like there's still an awful lot of rock out there that I'm listening to that I love, guitar-based music that I love, and to me it's doing all right. But it like, as you say, it's at the minute the time is hip hop, and it's in the forefront of everything that you hear, and it's the most influential thing that's out there, But I don't know. I don't think it's gone. Like even in stuff that isn't overtly rock, I still think I hear influences from certain big rock bands of a couple of years ago, even just. But that's kind
Yeah.
of my take on it. What do you think, Andy?
Well, I've always thought that rock was taking from hip hop anyway, but just hip hop wasn't at the forefront like it is now, because it never got. It always got put into this box of gangster rap, I guess, and that wasn't really appropriate or mainstream for people to listen to. But when you say the likes of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and stuff, just listen to their songs. You're telling me that wasn't influenced by hip hop? It's like,
Oh yeah,
don't
Red
know.
Chili Peppers for
Yeah.
sure is
Um,
influenced by funk and hip hop, like 100.
yeah.
percent
So it's see, it's just a personal thing of mine, but I've always thought that since the 90s, I think hip hop was always just going on an upward trend, but it was getting certain parts of it was getting probably taken by other music, like the dance music scene and like some rock bands and stuff, and it was always getting put in the back burner. But eventually, when something just becomes too much to hold back, and there's just all this creativity and original music and all that stuff, I just think rock needs to do something different to get back to. I don't think rock will ever go back to what it was, but
I agree
definitely,
with that. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it will. I think
You know what? I think
go
the
ahead.
thing is, it's like music in general is kind of like, like the language of like how people are feeling at the time. And like when rock was really big, it was kind of like angsty, protesty, sort of, rage filled stuff. And in a similar way, at the minute, no, it's not all hip hop that's like that, but I think a lot of the music that is coming out is like it's what people are feeling and what people are trying to say and stuff, and that cuts through more than anything else. And like whenever you have such a deep and vivid emotion behind music, it's gonna be the dominant type of music at that time. And that's why I kind of agree with what Andy's saying there. It's like I don't know if rock will ever be able to like speak for people in that
Yeah,
way
that's
again.
another thing. I also think that hip hop's too real. Like you get someone's story
Yeah.
the way they want to tell it, whereas a rock song's like, I mean, I guess you can use the same formula that you've been using for the past 10 years, but I mean, look at the freaking every time you bring up Blink 182 or Green Day, it's like you listen to their song and you're like, oh, was that from 2002 or was that from 2020? What
Yeah,
am I listening to
yeah.
here? There's
But that's
zero change in that.
but I keep thinking that that's a problem with those bands. But I
Yeah,
think
as
personally,
in
I think there's
the
ways to move
actual
on, but the artists in
the
those
actual
bands is like,
Blink 182 that exists now is very
yeah,
much stuck in the past, trying to recapture what happened in the past. Now,
yeah.
I'm not saying that like it's like 100 times better and it deserves to be like in the forefront where rock music was before. But if you take like Tom DeLonge stuff that he's putting out himself, I feel like it is more of an evolution, and that guy is a musician trying to constantly evolve himself instead of trying to recapture a moment or like a feeling or whatever. And I think that definitely comes off better. I know exactly what you're saying there, Andy. Like there is some bands out there that are just like, I want to sound like rock music that was being put out in the 2000s or whatever. And it's you need to move on, but like every type of music and every artist needs to do that. Sorry,
The,
I
the,
think I cut you off there, Steve.
no, that's fine. I mean, that's completely what I think artists need to do, and it's maybe not everyone's cup of tea. I don't know, but like I've always thought the foundation for music, the reason the Beatles are called like the greatest band in the world. I know a lot of people argue that case, but the reason that I absolutely fell in love with them is their ability to change. I don't understand people who listen to a Beatles song and think they all sound the same. It's like the transformation over the course of a decade is only 10 years, like, if even, and the changes were unfathomable. Like, I mean, it's just a different band almost every record. They constantly changed, and I always love bands that could do that, and I think it's the reason I became a huge Blink 182 fan was because whenever I was a kid, it was pop punk and relatable and funny, and then they kind of matured. They done the Untitled record, and that was a big curveball. It seems like on the lead up they had like Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, which is a joke title anyway, but deals with more mature subject matter, like being a child of divorce, on Stay Together for the Kids. there were important things that they were talking about, and they were talking about four kids going through those situations, and then the entitled album was like very mature. Like those guys were going the right direction, but then they split up and they had their own personal differences, and they clearly wanted different things, which is why it's such a fuck up now. I'm trying to even think of other. There's quite a long list of bands that I feel are able to change in that way and always be interesting. You know, like one artist throughout the decades that has been able to do that is David Bowie, and he's just constantly evolved and changed for the length of time he's made music across those decades. He has changed with the times, and it's like, to me, that's just like the amazing thing about him as an artist. I'm not saying everybody has to do that, because I guess from a marketing standpoint, people expect a certain thing from you, but I love
I mean, if
that.
it works, and it works, and you can still make a career out of it. But you know, if people like, if System of a Down or something releases, if somebody goes have you heard the new System of a Down song? You can already say yes, because you know exactly what it's going to sound like.
Yeah, which is true. They have not I mean, they've released those two new songs after how many years together, and they do just sound like they could have been on the old records.
But again, I'm not saying that's a
Not
bad
not
thing,
in a
but
good way and not in a bad way. They just do. They just sound like they could be on the old System records. Like, that's just a fact.
Well, I think that does, even with the biggest hip hop records as well, that kind of does happen, because as like anybody making music, you're always stuck between, like, it's like, how far do I push the boat out? How different do I go? Because I don't want to lose the fans that started on album one or like demo one or whatever. And it's like, if somebody turns around and goes, oh, this doesn't sound like such and such anymore, or they're trying to be too different, it's always that weird like balance that anybody is trying to strike whenever they put music out.
I would agree, but I think the past couple of years, the changes that hip hop has gone through is like so many. It's been the changes that it's gone through over the past couple of years. Rock has only done maybe twice over 10.
You're 100% right, because yeah, I was about to say that's the thing. It's like I think there's a bit more of a fearlessness in hip hop music at the minute to take risks and do different stuff. And I wish we knew everybody's tags in the comments, because some people I recognize, some people I don't. Does anybody know who Ready HD is? He really hit the nail on the head in like one line. Is basically, rock stood still while rap and pop started running. And
Yeah.
to me, that kind of like sums up the whole thing of what's happened. It's like rock got quite comfortable in what it was, and as you say, like people, even like some of the best bands, just kept putting out the same record over and over again, and people eventually look for something different, you know.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean,
And the thing is, hip hop is a culture. It's a thing you enter and you take part in and stuff. Rock's really,
People could
you
say
would
the
go
same for
see.
rock, but it's like different subgenres, you know what I mean, like punk
Yeah.
and like hair metal, and sort of like those are very much cultures
Oh,
if
no,
you go
yeah.
full into them. Yeah.
I mean, in the fact of like hip hop has obviously the sound, the energy of it, the artwork, the dance culture, the like the different I don't know. There's like different twangs from different areas, and then you can mix it like with Pop Smoke done, where he took stuff from like London and took it to New York, and then made like the drill stuff. It's like you don't really see rock. Like if one rock band mingles with another one, it's just gonna sound like another rock song. It's not really gonna.
You get a lot
Well, maybe
less collaboration, I think, in rock as well, compared to
that's what
hip
I
hop.
was gonna say is kind of the issue, and it's like whenever artists do work together in rock-based music, it's usually a rock song where somebody invited a rapper in to do a rap that doesn't fit on the rock song, and I kind of
Yeah.
hate all that. But
Blame
like,
Aerosmith.
yeah, it was Aerosmith's fault. To be fair, it's like they did it and it was good, so it'll always be good, which is not true. Yeah, a couple of things just from the comments. You know, I think when we were talking about bands who just have not improved and just sound the same as they did back in the day, is like Green Day, who just are not, Green Day, the latest single they just brought out the other week, and it sucks. And I put a
I
poll
didn't
up
listen to
on
it.
our Year Spaceship Instagram to be like, is it fire or is it shitty? And it was 100% from all votes shit.
100% shitty.
I didn't listen to
Everyone
it.
thought it was shit.
Neither did I.
Um,
See, this is the thing as well. It's like to me, like I'm personally like for Green Day, like I'm checked out ages ago. It's like I'll get round to it, but it's not one of those bands that I'm seething at the bit like for the new song to come out and like I'm gonna rush to Spotify or YouTube or something to see something that they put out. Like
Yeah.
definitely my tastes have moved on from them.
See, and then
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like with Green Day, you can do and they sound the same, but with a group like Deftones, you go to their album and you go through the years and you're like, oh fuck, that's starting to change, and then you go to the latest stuff and you're like, and that was another group that was influenced by hip hop as well, but then they went off their own. They
Yeah.
started doing more rock heavy, like proper stuff.
Yeah, well, that's another band in the comments that Sean McCann has put in as Radiohead, as somebody who's changed with the years that they've been active, like consistently throughout. But I think the spin that I was gonna take on it, and I actually was kind of in a I suppose an online debate about this recently. Uh, I I really have a positive feeling about what's happening with hip hop in regards to a certain number of artists that are making something that, like, I don't really know what the genre is, but it's somewhere in between like emo, pop punk, and hip hop. Like, it seems to amalgamate those three genres, which I'm talking about is like, you know, I don't know, guys. Like, I mean, I'm always very conscious of not wanting to be the guy that won't be willing to move with the times. I always try and accept new stuff, and I try and look at like what are kids gonna be listening to now? You know, because that's where it all starts, in my opinion. It starts with the younger generation and what is relating to them, like what is inspiring them. And for the likes of me and Mike back in the day, it was bands like Blink 182 and some 41, and like these guys that are like jumping around with guitars. Like, to us, that was awesome, and it made me want to get a guitar.
Looked like a
It's not the same
shitload
for
of fun.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like fun. I'm not saying everyone comes from that place, but I mean, a lot of kids started playing guitars because of bands like that. And it was funny, and it was a bit comical as well. It just seemed like you were dicking around with your friends, but making kick-ass rock music at the same time. But you also had the emo phase, and the fact that bands like, I always use them, Blink-182, those sort of pop punk bands, they're always talking about the stuff that you were angsty about, in high school or whatever. It's like these things whenever you're a kid and it seems like the world's falling apart because, this girl doesn't like you, or this thing isn't working out, or you just feel shit because you hate everyone else. Like, that's the reason that it resonates with that generation. And the people that seem to be working this in well now are the likes of Mean Gun Kelly and Trippy Red, Kenny Hoopla, you know, who else? I'm trying to think of so man. Like Lil Peep even. The way the times have sort of changed, and we're a bit more comfortable talking to, a younger generation about the real mental health issues with trying to grow up, like growing pains. I mean, we all had them, but it's much more okay to talk about it now. But it seems more obvious about
Fuck Mac Miller. I know it's a bit slower.
yeah. No, but you're right, man. And it's this idea of, you can talk about how it's tearing you up inside, the stuff, and the fact that you are trying to get medication, or, some kind of antidepressant, or you're self-medicating because you can't shake these feelings. It's not like, oh yeah, this girl dumped me. That's not really the relatable thing anymore. It's more like,
It's
let's
more
talk about
focused on
something
the individual.
real.
It's like, yeah, what is
Which is
actually your problem.
emo went extremely the other side, was like,
Yeah.
well, let's cut our wrists and die together. Like, I mean, it was
Yeah.
one extreme or the other. Whenever it was like those pop punk days, was like, there's the happy pop punk, like, oh, my life is so shit, and then there's like, let's cut our wrists and die together. And it's like, yeah, that also sounds good, and and then now it's like, hey, that's not healthy, and I
Yeah.
have to take a bunch of pills to try and feel better about myself. But you know what? Life does suck, and I still wanna cut my wrist and die. And also, that girl dumped me. Like, it's kind of got everything. And
Yeah.
I always feel weird saying it. I never thought in a million years I'd be sitting here being like, I really like that Machine Gun Kelly record. I don't like. I just never thought I'd be in an age where I enjoyed Machine Gun Kelly, and I swear to God, I have played it so much because it's the first album in a while that made me sort of have that feeling and think that kids could relate to it in a way. The lyrics are dumb when you read them out. Like, some of them just sound so stupid, but it's like, I'm sure there's a lot of kids out there that relate in a way. And it's the same
Yeah.
with the new Drippy Red that just came out. He actually features the singer from Deftones, Chino Marino, on one of the songs, which is awesome. And he's also got Travis Barker on like half the thing too. Because like, a album thing, it's like, I can't even remember what it's called. Neon Shark versus Pegasus or something. Not that it matters, but I'm pretty sure Pegasus was the original album. Then he released like a double part called Neon Shark, and then he just released it as one record called Neon Shark versus Pegasus or something weird. But I would recommend listen to it because in the same vibe as the likes of Machine Gun Kelly or Lil Peep. It's like, it's got this rock guitar integrated into it, and because Travis Barker's drumming on them, it's sort of got that early 2000s feel, but it's also completely drenched in hip hop at the same time. There's like trap hi-hats and stuff. It's this amalgamation that, like, is actually Tom DeLonge talked about before for Blink, is what he's seen the future of it being, was like to integrate hip hop in. But then I think
They done that
the rest
on
of
the Dogs Eating Dogs EP,
they
didn't they?
did,
Just
but
for
I think they misunderstood what he meant, and they just put Yellow
Yeah.
Wolf on a verse, and it didn't really work.
Yeah.
It kind of sounded awful, but to me, this is like such a good mix of these things to like relate to a younger audience, and I can see this being the way forward of bringing guitar music back. Because I gotta be honest, like, I was really putting all my money down on the fact that Royal Blood were gonna bring guitar music into the mainstream more. I'm not saying they didn't, because they definitely did, but I just thought they were gonna absolutely explode, like global takeover, because they seem to be able to mix the badass guitarist with like a pop mainstream sort of feel, but I don't really
They
feel
put
that's
out a
happened.
single recently, didn't they?
And I love it. It's Typhoons,
Yeah.
and it's really, really good. But I just don't think it's taken over the way I thought it would.
I think like to me personally, like the thing is that I don't feel like I'm lacking in rock music. I just feel like I need to search for it more, and I think somebody in the comments actually said as well, like, a lot of times people like their rock whenever it's not mainstream anyways, if you know what I mean. So like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I feel like I need to search for it a little bit harder, and there's maybe not as many people listening to it, but there's still a lot of good stuff out there. You were saying like about bands that kind of like capture a little bit of what you used to love about rock but are still evolving and stuff. There's another band, I'm pretty sure that you put me onto them in the first place, Radkey.
Oh yeah.
They're
Red
still
Key
going,
Awesome.
and they're still putting out some incredible records and stuff as well.
They're quite
Um,
punkish, punk-esque.
Yeah, yeah. And then you were saying about Kenny Hoopla and stuff there as well. I mean, to me, he's mainstream. Maybe not as much in the UK, but like I'm pretty sure he's doing all right for himself in America. Like,
He's getting better, but I mean, like, the funny thing is, what loads of these people seem to have in common is Travis Barker at the minute. I think that guy's not missing a trick here. Like, to
I'm sure he's
jump
been
on
doing it
these
since
things.
freaking the game, hasn't he? Like in the
Oh,
early
man, I mean,
2000s again.
Travis
So.
has drummed on so much, and he's drummed on a bunch of hip hop records. I mean, he's played with Run the Jewels live and stuff like that. But the difference was like whenever he was doing that, he was just playing some drums, and he was usually doing like electronic drums, for the hip hop track. But now he is going in, and he's actually producing as well. Like he produced on the Trippie Red record for Neon Shark, and I think you can hear it because weirdly, even though the Travis doesn't play any instruments in Blink 182, for some reason it feels like he can somehow just completely transfer the sound over very easily. I know it's a pretty basic sound, but like I don't know, somehow it works. You should listen to
You
it
know,
and,
you know,
tell
you
me
know,
what you
maybe
think.
why? But because maybe a lot of the sound comes from the drums
Well,
for
that is
Blink.
true, but I
You
mean
know what I
in
mean? And
particular,
sometimes like
yeah.
the effect choices that he chooses on the drums and stuff as
Oh
well would very
yeah,
much like encompass like what a Blink record sounds like. So you
there's always like
transfer that onto somebody else.
a
Yeah.
flangey drum fill somewhere in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah, yeah.
But I just mean the guitars even sound like Blink
Yeah, true,
guitars
true.
or pop punk guitars now on these other records. But to me, that's what's going down. That's what's going down with the kids today. I think that's kind of where we're going for bringing guitars back. Will not be in the way that we think, but I think it'll be more this way. So everyone that wants to shit on the likes of MGK, it'd be like, well, he might revive rock music.
I just think he's a doof.
He is. He
He's
100%
He does. He
is.
does look a bit like a big doof, like, but yeah,
He just
is
acts
a
like a
big
doof.
yeah.
He's a bit of a douchebag. And I mean, loads of stuff he's done in the past has just been stupid. Like, I really try not to think about him whenever I'm listening to songs because I'm just like these songs. Let's just ignore the fact that you tried to diss Eminem in a freestyle that was stupid.
And the video where he's like in his friend's car and he kicks the windshield in. And it's like, what are you doing?
And now he's a rock devil, not a rap devil anymore.
Of course you are.
I don't know. I think maybe like just the definitions of the music has changed at the minute, and I feel like hip hop and stuff is basically they are the rock stars nowadays, and what rock has become is more like people in their feelings. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the rock that's coming out, like as you were saying earlier, is more about like people struggling and like
I don't know,
daily
you listen
problems
to
and stuff.
you listen to some hip hop tracks now, even some R&B. There's some
Oh, a
people
lot of
that-
Yeah,
that's
well, I
about
know.
the
Yeah, I
mental
know. I know.
struggle, but-
Yeah, I know there is also that too, but it's like I feel like rock can't get away with just doing the big boastful sort of stuff that they used to do like back in the day. If you know, that's more hip hop's place now. You know what I mean? They can do that sort of like rock star, don't give a fuck boasting sort of stuff. I know there's completely different versions of hip hop and stuff. There is stuff that gets into a lot deeper shit and stuff as well. But that's I honestly feel like rock can't get away with doing that at the minute, and maybe never will again. So I don't know if you'll get those big sort of just balls out, rocky, boastful, mega rock star type songs that maybe summed up a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I think
I
you'll
don't know.
get it, but it'll be like
I feel like it's gonna fall flat with
it'll
people.
Be hearing and it'll go.
Nah, yeah.
You know all I want is Chad Kroger to write more songs about photographs of his friends.
And here, do you know what? See that band for the amount of hate that they get. When you go back and listen to their stuff, you're like, oh, they're
Yo,
actually,
They're okay. They're as much cringe as they were good. Maybe a 60-40 split. But there's Nickelback songs that are okay. I wouldn't say they were ever fantastic by any means, but there's a song called Learn the Hard Way, and I really like that song. And then there's a song called Rockstar, and it's so bad that it makes me want to vomit.
I don't know. Well, maybe that was that. I mean,
We all just want to be big rock stars.
it's a catchy song. I guess every big band needs to put one out. Needs to
Yeah,
put
I
like a
suppose.
single out. I
This is how you remind me. It's all the same song. I'm just realizing. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. What was that on Joey's head? The best line in a song
Yeah,
ever.
that's such a weird lyric. Yeah.
What the hell
I don't
was that
get
on
that.
Joey's head?
What was it on Joey's head?
I don't know, because he
Do you
doesn't
see
really
the
look at
picture?
It's
Do you
just
see the
him
picture in the video?
laughing. It's like that,
Oh, you see it from behind? He's like
yeah,
looking at
he's
it like.
laughing. It
And
was a
everybody's
hat,
like,
Chad. It was a hat. That's what it was on Joey's head. It was a hat. You ever heard of that?
But do you know what they can do that the hottest rock act can't do now? Sell an arena.
Yeah, true.
Nobody can do that right now. I think you'll find.
Oh well. Okay.
I'm pretty sure if I got an arena, I could sell it out now because I would be the only person playing a show. It's all because Don Maple at the SSC.
You probably have a
arena.
load of anti-vaxxers and people not wearing masks attending, like, but at least you'll sell out
Oh,
an
here,
arena.
did you see Dolly Parton got her little
I
You got a
did.
jab?
vaccine?
Yeah.
Nice. Everyone was like, "Get your jab. We got your jab. When are you getting your jab?" They keep talking jabs now. This is as bad as being pinged on the app. Ping, 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 ping. Did you get pinged? Are you getting pinged? Ping, 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 ping. No, it's jab, 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 jab. I'm fucking
I'll
sick
throw a
of this.
jab the next time someone says.
I will throw a jab. I will. You're gonna have to play this again. No. That's enough. That's enough. Yeah. So I mean, I'm hopeful. I do think. I think a lot of people in the comments here have said it as well. It's a cyclical event, and
No, but this
people
one,
don't.
but rock has not coming back for a while, and especially when Bruno Mars and freaking Anderson .Paak are gonna put an album out, it's not coming back for a while.
We're going back to funk, babies. We're going back to the funk days by the looks of that. That's what I kept thinking
here.
in my mind. It's like, will we move back through the decades somehow? And it's like, we'll move back and we'll do funk first, and then we'll
It's
move
all-
through the synthwave era again.
It's all to me. It's all in the hip hop cotton wool bowl.
It's at the end of the day, I don't feel like it really matters that much. It's all where people's attentions are, really. And the thing is, there's probably still somebody out there making an amazing disco record. You know what I mean? If you love disco music, you can go find it, and it's getting easier and easier to find this stuff. If you love rock, you can find it, and I've found stuff that I enjoy, and I think that is the thing, as you say, like it is cyclical, and whether it will ever get its day again where it's as big as it once was, who really knows? But like at the end of the day, there's something out there for everybody, and you just
yeah.
have to go digging
Mike
for it.
Switzerland.
I like to sit on the fence, but here we can't end this without getting into, I think, why this was brought up in the first place.
Why brought
though.
it up? Yeah, that's what I was
yeah.
gonna get on this, but no, you go ahead. You tell it.
Yeah, no, basically, I had ordered myself the new Maximo Park record. Nature Always Wins. I'm going to talk more about it in the shout out segment, but it came up in my feed then. There was this news article. I didn't even realize this had actually happened, but they're in the midweek charts at #1. And last week, the band Mogwai actually had the #1 album in the UK. And Mogwai have been going for like over 20 years now. They play mainly like instrumental music, and they do like movie and TV show soundtracks and everything. They make absolutely incredible songs, and they've had a career, filled out arenas, and done their own thing for years. And I'm pretty sure this is like the first #1 album they've ever had. And I don't really know what all the circumstances are around, like is like people not putting out other music at the minute. Is it like lack of competition or something? But the last week and this week, there's two mainly guitar based bands in the running for like #1 album, which is just such a weird and interesting thing to see. And I think that's why we kind of got onto the conversation today. But
Yeah, well, I mean, it seemed like it was pretty much done as a fan campaign. is the only one downside I would say of it. Like, it's awesome that it happened, but it's kind of the same, like, it's almost the same mentality I take whenever people talk about Christmas number one now. Like, the reason that Christmas number one doesn't matter anymore is because you can campaign it. Like, the reason
Because
that
it was
thing-
saturated by reality TV, and people
Yeah.
like, we're sick of this, so
Well,
we're gonna push.
it was, and people got annoyed about that, and that's why Rage Against the Machine got a Christmas number one, because people were like, we don't want this to win anymore. Let's campaign for that. But now,
And then it just became an exercise in like advertising. Basically, it's not about the song
Well,
per
it-
se as much as how well you can, as you say, campaign or advertise for it.
well, it's true, but I mean, it's not even like people really making songs for any, like, for their own reasons now. It's like that thing, what's it called, Lad Baby or something. I haven't
That
even
was like
listened to these.
three Christmas number ones. I didn't even know this until this year. It's
But
like,
do you know
what
do you
the
get
hell?
the reason why though? The thing is that the money's for
It's a
charity.
novelty track, and it's for charity.
Well, it's a
yeah.
cover, it's a spoof cover, and the money goes to charity. So then they campaign for it to be like the money goes to a good cause. So it's not really about, oh, who's the big Christmas number one, because you're not gonna want to take the money away from charity. No, like, I mean, it just seems fucking wrong. So now,
But could they not like split the
it's
charts
changed.
into like the number one that sold the most, and then the number one that isn't novelty music or something? Could they not like? Let's know what actually people thought was the best actual musical effort this year, not like what
But that's
sold
that's the
most.
problem. I don't think that can happen anymore, because it happened naturally for decades, because it was just the Christmas number one was the most popular song at that time. But there was no way to campaign. It was just what people like to listen to. This is why it's pointless now, because you can't campaign for it. And it's the same way that I'm not trying to downplay it in any way, but it's the way that Mogwai have went to number one, and now they're actually ambassadors to try and get Maximo Park.
Yeah, they
number one.
started it for Maximo Park. It was basically like, I mean, a lot of it was based on a hashtag, and
Yes.
I think it was like Stuart Braithwaite from Mogwai kind of started the Maximo Park hashtag then and stuff. So
Yeah, which is it'll push fans to actually go and do it a particular way to support their favorite band. But
yeah,
I don't think it'll
and it's
always
also going to
happen.
bring it's also hopefully, fingers crossed, going to bring new people to that music. And these bands have been going for years, and they have a fandom that has kept them going for years without having to ever worry about number one records. But it's nice, I'm sure, for them to get an acknowledgement that like the music has always been good, and it's like, here you go, number one record. Well,
You
it's
say
about
they've
fucking
done
time.
like TV show and movie things, did you?
Yeah, Mogwai done.
That's probably a big thing. Why? Because people have been in the house and watching. I recognize that.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is obscure stuff, but the soundtracks are incredible. They done this. There was an American remake of the TV show, and I know for a fact the name is going to slip my mind now. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a French show to start with, and it was a great show. It was like about this small French town, and everybody had these like different dramas and relationships and stuff going on, but like
Madeline.
A load of their family members like all disappeared at the one time. It's a very similar setup to a lot of other TV shows, but like the soundtrack was absolutely incredible. I kind of nearly watched that show just for the soundtrack alone. But they've done like a bunch of other stuff as well. But yeah, I don't think it would have been anything that like it would have, they would have got audiences just based on that, because as I say, it's heavily instrumental music. So nobody's going to turn around and go, well, what's that playing in the background? Because it's not like a band. There's not a vocal to it. You know what I mean? It's like actually like bed music, if you know what I mean. It's like dramatic music happening in the background of something. So yeah, I don't know how much any of that stuff would have brought extra fans to it. It's more probably people that already knew that they were doing it.
Their cult following, yeah, that I'm sure they've acquired over years and years of doing that. But yeah, sure. We'll leave the question there, and we'll jump over to the shout out segment. All right, we're over shout out segment to tell you what we have been listening to over the last week, what we're excited about. Mike, take it away.
Okay. I apologize in advance to every band that's on this shout out segment because I've kind of went full tilt with the joke last week. You guys were taking the piss out of me for my overly descriptive word pictures for some of the songs that
Mike has beautiful words, beautiful
Yeah.
nonsensical words to
So-
describe your music.
You'll find that I tell you a little bit about these bands and then I go off on a tangent where I maybe sound like I've had a stroke, but let's just run with it anyways. There's this band that I stumble across and I swear to God it's like my new favorite thing. I've been playing this album on repeat along with the Maximo Park album, which I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But it's this band called Babe Heaven. They've put out a new album called Home for Now. They're from West London and they're an amazing 5-piece and they're like trip hop soul. They say like their influences are Cocteau Twins and Massive Attack, and it's the brainchild of singer Nancy Anderson and producer Jamie Travis. These guys were friends as teens and reconnected later in life while they were both working retail. Nancy was in her grandmother's antique shop and Jamie in an organic farm store. They would meet up in the evenings to cut demos and have been releasing music as Babe Heaven since 2016. This record is a real vibe and it sounds a bit like lead singer Nancy's beautiful voice was injected into the center of a single raindrop, which fell from the sky down onto the back of a cheetah running endlessly through the night. A keys playing cherub, all up in their feelings, is mounted on the cheetah's back. They close their eyes and outstretch their arms to feel the wind rushing through their small tufts of cherub hair. So if you
All right.
if you want to listen to what that sounds like, yeah.
If you guys want to quote that, you can use that on your website. Your spaceship says all of that.
That shit. Yeah.
Raindrop on
Yeah.
shit back. Your spaceship says
it's
Babe Heaven sounds like raindrops.
It's fucking great though. No, I honestly listen to it. I absolutely adore it. I can't stop playing it. Likewise.
So do you think that Babe Heaven is do we think that Babe Heaven is like a place I want to go to when I die, or where the pig in the city went?
Oh yeah, you're going for the movie reference again. I never actually thought about it that way. This is the same with like Animal Boy and Liar Liar. You went straight for Jim Carrey, and I never even picked up on that as well. Yeah, I don't know.
100% believe that song.
Maybe it is. Yeah, Pig in the City. Maybe it is. Babe Heaven.
No, definitely don't want to go see a load of pigs. I'd go the other one.
You go to the other Babe Heaven? Yeah.
I don't want to go see
And
pigs.
you know-
I don't care.
You know who there? Me.
This guy. Oh god. Oh no. Right. Maximo Park. Nature Always Wins. Maximo Park have released their 6th studio album, Nature Always Wins, and for me, it's a triumphant return to form. All the elements I've always loved about Maximo Park since the release of A Certain Trigger back in 2005 are on this record in abundance. It's poetic, energetic, and contemplative. It has a lot of little lyrical moments that pulled at my heartstrings listening to it. Paul Smith covers his entrance into fatherhood, which kind of makes me think of you a bit, Stu. There's quite a lot of songs, not just the single that I know that you've heard. Have you got a chance to listen to the album yet? No?
I haven't heard the whole record now.
There's
but it does
another
sound very
one.
good.
I think there's another one called, I don't know if this is just the lyric or it's actually titled that. It's called, I think it's maybe called Versions of You. But again, you can kind of see him just singing about his child, but it's like about like them growing up and like all him realizing like all the different people that they could maybe be, sort of thing. And it's a really, really nice track as well. But so he covers that, and then there's also stuff about crumbling communities during the times that we're living in, the negative effects of social media, and nostalgic throwbacks to simpler times. And here goes the nonsensical ramblings. It sounds a bit like if Paul Smith evolved into his final form, which I imagine as a bright burning ball of pure poetic energy, and in a fleeting moment of disregard for your own self-preservation, you decide to stare directly into that light, only to see Paul's bulging eyeballs as he delivers the amazing lyrical content directly into your frontal cortex.
There you go. Use that one.
Does
as
that
well
sound
if you
good?
want.
Does that sound good, or does that sound like you've just been
Maximo.
violated?
Maximo Park, quote from your spaceship. See if they can, whenever they usually want something like they can just stick on the front of the CD, like this was great, best album ever, and it's like ours is the font's like
2 thumbs up. Yeah.
2 PT. Well, so far, people in the comments have said what, and Mike, can I buy drugs from you? So keep it rolling, buddy.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've got one more left. Moon Landing has put out a track called "The Room Is Spinning." Moon Landing is the shiny new project of Jake McRae, and he's come out swinging with his first single. This track builds and builds and builds, beginning with the most delicate guitar, gorgeous reverberated backing vocals, and soothing ambient noises. About halfway through, you get a taste of how things will end as the guitar and drums really start to kick in. This track ends in an intense, fiery glow. It sounds a bit like if... Oh, here, man, I can't even remember writing this. Oh, this is crazy, this one. It sounds like an intense, fiery glow. It sounds a bit like if an astronaut and his dog were sent on a very important mission into space, but then their craft developed a mechanical fault. After discussing options with ground control, the agonizing decision was made that only one of them was going to make it home. The astronaut ventures outside the craft to fix the broken vessel. He gets the job done, but the airlock is sealed. Closed as he floats off into space, his trusty companion looks longingly from the shuttle window. The astronaut slowly vanishes into the flames of the sun. It's a good song.
What I'm doing is just picturing a dog going. "Ah."
So if you want to hear music that sounds like that, go check out Moon Landing. The Room Is Spinning.
I gotta hop on.
Anybody would want to hear that.
I gotta hop on the back of the Moon Landing thing because
You have something more meaningful to say about it?
I thought it sounded more like a cat, but also in space. No, I
got it right though. Yeah.
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to what I was gonna try and describe. Yeah, like this project sounds awesome. Jake McRae, I was a big fan of his before he played in a called Psychic Eyes, and I don't really know what happened to Psychic Eyes. I'm assuming that they're done. I guess I missed that memo, but I'm glad that he's making music again, and the song is just like, man, I don't even. What you said was right. Building, like, I mean, it definitely does build up, and in my head, it was like it's almost a little Radiohead-esque, maybe a little bit John Frusciante.
Yeah, I heard
emphasis.
that.
And it's like the two combined together, make something really special, and the vocals are so sort of like quiet and light, but I really like that in a very good way. Actually reminds me a little bit of a band, Mike, your friend's brother was in a band called Guided, like back in the day, and there was parts of the guitar that made me think it sounded like that old band. Doesn't exist anymore, but yeah,
I don't know if you can find that. Yeah, don't know if you can find that stuff
Probably
anymore.
not.
They were on Small Town America.
Yeah.
I still have a vinyl record from them. Good stuff.
Yeah, but I know the part of it reminded me of that. And then I suppose a couple of things to shout out. Like you said, the Trippie Redd record. If you want to get a taste of like some guitars and hip hop thing, like I go check that out. And genuinely, New Pagans are like my favorite band at the minute. I can't stop listening to New Pagans, and their song Harbor that I talked about before has only like moved up more for me. Like I keep listening to Harbor, and I find that the lead singer wrote it about having her first child, which really brought like so much more meaning to it for me. And I guess as a parent as well, it's like I started listening to it in a different way, and it was very much about her, pregnancy and giving birth and actually carrying this human. It's not exactly what I went through as becoming a, but there's something special there that I connected to, and it just made it, I don't know, made me very emotional now whenever I listen to that song, and it's really nice. But like, I mean, if you listen to the show and you haven't listened to New Pagans, I don't know what you're doing. They're like the first band since like General Fiasco back in the day. Whenever I just looping, Fiasco as a band from Northern Ireland is like their record. I would just play on repeat constantly, and I feel like I'm going through this again now. New Pagan, so I'm very excited for their album that's coming out. And then I suppose just one last shout out, someone that I actually meant to talk about before. Not that he really needs talked about. He's been on like the Tonight Show and stuff now, so like he's gonna be super famous. But I knew about him before. Hipster alert. Henry Hall. I love Henry Hall and I love his style of music, and it feels very me. Like it's kind of like it's a bit tongue in cheek. It's almost like Mac DeMarco versus Frankie Valli or something. Like it's a little bit like 1950s diner music, but jokes also kind of, but like not really funny, but kind of like an awkward guy singing about his own life. It's very weird. But the reason I found out about Henry Hall was because I follow Julia Louis-Dreyfus on Instagram, and it's her son. So like one time ages ago, she was like, my son's in a band and this is his new song or something, and then I checked it and I was like, oh my god, I really like this. And then I've seen him sort of just like growing and growing ever since, which is cool because I never would have guessed that he was Julia Louis-Dreyfus's son. Like I never really thought that. She plays Elaine in Seinfeld, by the way, if you're a noob and don't know that. But yeah, I would like go and watch his video stuff because they're very funny, but also like amazingly good. Like his voice is crazy. Like the range in it is insane. Like he has these covers on YouTube where he's like covering Jeff Buckley. So it's weird the way he can go in that mode and do this dark, serious Jeff Buckley cover where his range is like spot on, but his songs are like so kind of comical. It's just weird. He's just an awkward guy, I think. And his guitar solos are also insane. He's a guitar. Henry Hall, check him out. The album's called No, the newest one. And that's all I got. Andy, you got anything?
I was trying to remember the guy that you spoke about last week. He done a reaction video. Fucking shout out him. The guy you sent the single to the chat.
Ryan Rickenbach. Yeah, I did feel like we talked about Ryan Rickenbach and his song that I love, The Little Ones, and then he's very nice and like comment back and stuff, and then he reaction video where he reacted to our reaction of the song, and I really feel like at this point I should make a reaction video of me reacting to him reacting to us. What the song and keep this trend going. But because he's like, he's living in New York somewhere, it's like I don't want to trouble his life. I feel like he has to keep this joke going. So I think I'll just leave it there. But what a guy though.
Yeah. Like
he's also he's very cool. Very cool.
And he doesn't have a son, so there you go.
And he doesn't have a son, and you're way off.
I'm way off. Oh no.
He does teach kids. Yeah, everything we said, I was like, whenever I watched back, I was like, oh, this is the worst thing for somebody to actually make a reaction video. That was our first live show, and I was nervous for some reason. I don't know why. We've been doing this for this long. But then, yeah, I was saying, like, that Cosmic Folk Pop. That was his fault. He's the one that put it on live. Cosmic Folk Pop. And he said
just an interpretation of. It was our interpretation of his song, I guess. So
a song that was completely wrong, everyone.
That doesn't matter. You only know what's wrong.
Take your own
hindsight.
Take your own meanings.
And then
that's
fucking shout out us as well. I'm just gonna say that. Shout out us.
Shout out us, boys. We're almost on episode 4.
Yeah.
I think episode 4 is next week.
I got a thing. Might as well just before you.
What is Andy
finishing on us, Mike?
I
Shout out us, and Mike goes, "Here, by the way, someone else."
Yeah.
By the way, Saul's better than us.
Yeah. I don't like shouting out us. I don't know. It's weird. I'm all self-conscious. No, I wanted to tell you guys about this thing that I came across called the Vox Set. And they like do live sessions somewhere up in the north coast, but it looks like a very cool place that I'd want to go to. I don't know if it's a coffee shop or what it is, but uh, Joshua Burnside and Joel Harkin put up like a live session. There, I think there's also one from Larks as well, but it seems like it's going to be like a regular thing, especially whenever things get back to normal again. I think this one was filmed at the time with like just the crew, and there's all people in masks, so obviously it was still when social distancing and stuff was in place, but it kind of reminds me of a very well filmed live session, kind of like Audio Tree or like Tiny Desk session sort of thing. Like the film footage is incredible and the audio quality is incredible, and it really gives you a chance to like see the artists that they're going to have on like in a very, very good light. But yeah, it's called the Vox Set, and like I came across it like a week or two ago there, and there's like a website and stuff for it, but like I would recommend people checking it out. Obviously Joshua Burnside and Joel Harkin both like they've put out amazing albums. I think they were both nominated for NI Music Prize and stuff, so they did like a couple of songs on it, and then I sat and watched it one day and I thought it was pretty awesome. Might as well squeeze it in. You can get back to shouting us out if you want.
So
Andy.
back to us.
More important.
How good are we?
Us.
Shout out us. Shout out everyone that tunes in, comments, takes part, and takes their time out to be part of this little corner of the internet that we have here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
pretty
very
cool.
special. Yeah.
Yeah.
We love it. We love
Love
it.
it, guys.
I mean, it gets
One
me
finger,
through the week.
one pinky, one finger, one thumb, one love. Let's go.
Did somebody say just eat me?
I forgot that was
Delivery
coming.
like a G. See, hungry dog gotta eat. I gets mine every day, every week. Chicken wings to the crib. I'm sitting. Burger in the low. Hope they put the pickle in. Wonton on a catamaran. Oodles of noodles. Thank you, my man. Tacos to the chateau. Please, did somebody say just eat? Private jet in the night sky. My man hang glides by with my fried rice, right? Could you not love? Better slice on the side of the hot tub. What you gonna do? Chocolate fondue right on cue. Dip it in the soup. I see food. Seafood sees me. JUSTEAT. Did somebody say just eat? Copyright strike.
Oh no, we're gonna get DMCA.
Because it was.
Well, it depends how accurate it is, I guess.
It was so close to the original that we'd probably get fined for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just going on up there, and that's my life and all that. So, look, folks, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. It's been nice chilling with everybody on the live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can support the show very easily by subscribing to the YouTube channel, ringing that little bell, pressing the little button on the Spotify majigger. I don't know why I act like I don't know what Spotify is whenever I start talking about it. I feel weird asking you guys to subscribe to it, that I start calling stuff majiggers and thingamabobbs. Just subscribe is what I'm saying. Okay, we love you very much, and that's how you show support to us. Because we're trying to crank up them subscribers. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this has been 6 Ebro. I'm Donald. That's my mic. That's Nandes. Thank you
Bye,
guys
Sean.
for talking to us in the comments. Bye, Sean. Bye, Sean.
Bye, Simon, if you're
Bye,
still here.
Everyone else that I didn't know the names of.